so we went from being top of the world to welfare poor. And so I grew up as the oldest of four, having to go to work after school to make sure that the bills would get paid. I'm Garret Blood, founder and CEO of Kajae, a premium staff augmentation company. I grew up very wealthy for most of my younger years. Dad had houses all over the world, hundreds of condos, hotels, planes, jets, dealerships, companies, and we never lacked for anything that we wanted. You know, Dad's coming home in the Ferrari today. Okay, there's the Ferrari. Going to school in the limo, you know, in Orange County, and it was amazing. And then my dad got involved with some bad habits and vices, and then eventually drugs, and every one of his properties, empire pieces, if you will, completely disappeared. And so my parents divorced when I was 12. And then leading up to that, when I was probably around 10, did it get really bad. And so that's what precipitated me starting a company when I was about 9, as things were starting to get difficult. My first company was a window cleaning business. And part of it was, my goal was to save for an LDS mission. And so I started working, and I grew it to about 60 customers. And then my parents, of course, divorced when I was about 12. And I was forced to sell my business. And so I sold it to a guy in his 30s, and that was my first exit. So Kajae is named after my kids, Kate, Ariana, Jack, Alexa, Ethan. My oldest is 20, my youngest is 8. And come to find out years later, it means gift from God in Jamaican. For anyone that doesn't know, Kajae, premium staff augmentation, and what that is my goal was to take brilliant, highly educated, Fortune 500 experienced English speakers in 22 different countries. They've got English like you and I. You have to listen to a point to hear an accent. They're typically that good. And they're senior accountants, they're graphic designers, they're video editors, supply chain analysts, they're e-commerce experts, equal, if not better than most domestic hires here in the United States. And so we give them full benefits across the board, and our attrition rate's about 5%, which means our clients have an attrition rate that's 5%. And they're saving about 70 to 80% of what it would cost to hire a programmer, for example, or again, a senior accountant or some expert. They are the scalpel in a surgical room as opposed to a chainsaw. And they're grateful and loyal professionals. A couple times a week from a member of the team, where I have to sign a letter that's been put in front of me by HR, and it's a verification of employment. And it tells me every time that they're buying their first car, they're able to buy a house for the first time in their lives. I've got a member of our team, her name's Sarah. She speaks 4 languages. She has 2 master's degrees. She lives in Venezuela, and she worked for the United Nations, and they hardly paid her anything. Very, very poor, even though she's brilliant, graphic designer and fine art. And within 2 weeks of her being a part of our team, she sends me a picture of a bed. She goes, "I just bought my first bed." And you've got Americans complaining that their gigabit internet speeds are not fast enough. And here she buys her first bed, as opposed to a pile of blankets that she's lived on for over 20 years. And so those types of things are far better than things I've done in the past in my career.